And welcome back to this All Indiana Politics special, the Indianapolis mayoral debate. We are joined by Democrat Joe Hogsett and Republican Jefferson Shreve.
Now, I want to start this half hour discussing housing. A study by the Fair Housing Center of Central Indiana found entire blocks are being bought by outside investors, often with cash. Critics believe this type of buying drives up home purchase prices and rents in neighborhoods. What do you think can be done or should be done to limit outside investor purchase power? Mr. Shreve.
I would recognize that that is a problem increasingly in neighborhoods, not just in our urban core, but in our townships as well. Healthy neighborhoods have a high percentage of individual home ownership, and so we want to discourage outside investors buying up big swaths of housing stock. We also want to encourage local home ownership, and there are programs under the Community Reinvestment Act that we want to encourage our lending community to support people to own their housing. Indianapolis has been attractive as a place to live because it was a relatively low-cost community. But our costs of housing, rents in particular, are going up about 8% a year. We have to add to the supply materially to catch up with the demand so they come into parity and cost increases will come down. And there are things that the mayor can do through the Department of Metropolitan Development and Business and Neighborhood Services to rectify that.
All right. Well, Mr. Hogsett, how would you like to respond to that?
Well, I certainly agree with Jefferson as it relates to housing supply. I mean, housing is such a critical issue. You can't have enough of it. That's why this administration has been very proactive in terms of providing more affordable housing for more people throughout the state. Now, as far as out-of-state landlords, frankly, we have a good track record and a cooperative record with working with the Attorney General and citizens in apartment complexes throughout the state, holding out-of-state landlords who have pocketed monies that they have no business pocketing and not paying their water bills. We held them accountable, and I'm very grateful for that success. So at the end of the day, we've also been responsible for a one-time property tax credit for 90% of homeowners to keep them in their homes, and the anti-displacement pilot project going on over in the Riverside Park area. I'm proud of that, too.
All right, so Indiana has some of the worst eviction rates in the nation, with people of color being impacted at higher rates. Aside from the Housing Task Force, what will you do to address housing equity in the city over the next 4 years? And this go around, we'll start again with you, Mr. Hogsett.
Yes, I know that several years back, the City County Council passed significant pro-rental relief for renters who were being manipulated by unscrupulous landlords. That, I think, passed in a bipartisan way, at least at the council. What happened? Well, entities took our legislation and went over to the Indiana General Assembly, and they essentially told us that it was not part of their program and did away with it. That's very frustrating, and that's what we face all too often. I am proud, though, of the nearly $200 million that went into Indy Rents to keep people in their rental homes during the roughest days of the pandemic.
Thank you, Mr. Hogsett. And Mr. Shreve, how would you like to respond to that?
I think we have to recognize that some of the COVID-era dollars, including the Indy Rents program, will sunset in the very near term. And so that pathway won't be there. The council, and I supported the landlord registration with the council, was well-intentioned, but too many of the ordinances that we pass aren't enforced. We have an ineffective Business and Neighborhood Services program, formerly called the Department of Code Enforcement. And so, you know, these are just toothless initiatives that we take that don't serve to truly protect many of the citizens that are renters in our community. minority ownership of housing in Marion County has declined decade after decade, every decade since 1940. We need to reverse that trend line around, because that equity in one's home is the primary safety net that people enjoy or don't enjoy, and can put them out in the street if they miss a paycheck or two.
And Mr. Hogsett, would you like to give your 30-second rebuttal?
Yeah, I just simply say that to the extent that anything that we've done during my administration, if it has been, as Jefferson has characterized it, toothless and or ineffective, if that were true, I'm not altogether sure the Indiana General Assembly would have gone so far to essentially render it null and void. I mean, those folks are smart enough to realize that if something's toothless, they don't need to do anything about it.
Mr. Shreve, 30 seconds to you, sir.
I've never known anyone to be pursued for lack of having a rental property registered or not registered with the City of Indianapolis. There is no enforcement mechanism at the Department of Business and Neighborhood Services. That department is sorely understaffed, as are so many other departments in our city, and I would argue that it's been ineffectively managed.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. I want to turn the conversation now to health and equity here, and inequality, rather, here in Indianapolis, okay? So we're going to talk about some numbers here. This is according to an IU study, okay? So we're looking at a map here. Right around our station here on Meridian Street, life expectancy for folks around here, a community that's about mostly black, mostly Hispanic, about 66 years old, okay? So you move up a couple of miles, you go up north to Carmel, where it's about 75% white. Life expectancy there, 91 years old. So I'll address this next question to you, Mr. Shreve, first. How do you plan to change this? And also, what do you plan to do if you are elected when it comes to the underprivileged communities across our area? Go ahead, sir. 60 seconds.
I would, one, acknowledge that is an extraordinary disparity. I had some involvement with IU Health on a precursor regional board for Clarion, and was on the Capital Foundation for IU Health with our big downtown campus, until I stepped away to become a candidate for mayor. IU Health and our other institutions are working vigorously to correct this societal wrong, this societal injustice that is evidenced by the stats that you put up on the board. We have to do a better job in Marion County toward harmonizing those life expectancies with Hamilton County and our other donut counties. I have some understanding and some years of involvement with that, and will work vigorously to move in that direction.
Mr. Hogsett, your time, sir. 60 seconds.
Yeah, I think that the disparities that you point out are many-headed. One is available and affordable home ownership. And that is what we have been aggressive in trying to provide more residents throughout the community. It also involves, as Jefferson has just indicated, health access. But it's not just IU Health and health access that is going to solve this disparity. This disparity, over the long run, will be addressed in meaningful ways by providing better jobs and more jobs to more people with better wages. And that's what we have fought for. It also will be addressed by better educational opportunity. That's why I'm proud of Project Indy, which started under my administration. That's why I'm proud of Indy Achieves, our scholarship program for underserved populations. Those are important steps to take.
And I want us to talk about food deserts now. The most recent numbers from Indy Food Policy show, as of last year, more than 208,000 Indianapolis residents live in a food desert, an area where access to fresh and nutritious food is severely limited. And we know this has a tremendous impact on health, especially that of children. What is your plan to help get more people access to fresh, nutritious food over the next 4 years? I'll start with you, Mr. Hogsett.
Well, thank you for the question. Food deserts are very, very concerning where they exist. And that's why this administration has been, I think, nimble and creative. It's one thing to say, well, let's just answer the question by more bricks and mortar. That's just not realistic. Sure, adding a grocery store or a supermarket where it can be financially successful ought to be included. I was very proud to, very early in my first term, to help open up Cleo's Bodega. And by the way, the investment that Cook Medical has made out on East 38th Street, where there's now a food access. But we've been nimble in the administration by providing, for example, the Compass app, where people can go online and figure out where their closest food access is, or our Lyft program, where you can get for $1 a ride to and from a supermarket. That's the kind of creativity that will help us address this systemic issue.
Mr. Shreve, you have 60 seconds. What is your take?
The challenge is broad. I was in actually Cleo's Bodega 10 days ago. And it's a fine, small, but very limited example of what we need to do to approach both the food and, I would also note, sort of pharmaceutical deserts that we have increasingly around Marion County. I don't think the answer is to build new bricks and mortar stores, but rather to repurpose many of the vacant or disused former retail boxes that we have around Marion County, and to provide a set, predictable package of redevelopment incentives for investor developers to bring in compact, mid-sized grocers that offer fresh produce and vegetables close into the communities that are underserved. And I have in mind specifically some of the many empty, disused Walgreens or CVS stores or Rite Aid stores. They can't all become Dollar Trees, but they're just the right size to offer a good alternative to convenience store foods.
You know, gentlemen, for the past few weeks, we've been asking our viewers to send us their questions for tonight, and this one was addressed to both of you. How are you going to tackle large groups of people taking over the streets and parking lots, doing spin-outs with their cars and blocking traffic, something that we've extensively covered here on Wish TV, specifically our teammates Richard Essex, who's reported on it several times. Mr. Shreve, it's your turn, sir. 60 seconds. Start us off.
Yeah, well, the question is timely. I did an IMPD ride-along in North District last Saturday night. And I spent some time at the former Sears parking lot with about a dozen of our officers and a sergeant responding to an incident just like that. And we've had incidents just like that along MLK. On the south side, we have people speeding up and down US 31. It is unacceptable, and it is a function of a dearth of sufficient police horsepower on the streets to abate that problem. It takes a lot of officers deployed in a coordinated fashion to disperse those crowds that cause that sort of chaos in the core of our city and in the periphery of our city. We just need more police on the street to be forward-facing, and that's where that 320-odd delta between what we have and what we need comes into play.
Okay. Mr. Hogsett?
Well, spin-outs have finally come to our city, and they have created problems. But I'm very proud of, speaking of Superintendent Doug Carter and some of his ideas, we have entered into a very close working relationship with the state police. The state police and IMPD working together in those instances where these spin-outs oftentimes occur. Along with, by the way, neighborhoods. Neighbors in those areas are profoundly impacted and have been extraordinarily cooperative and disclosive about the problems. And so neighbors and state police and IMPD all working together, I think at last count, I knew that a dozen or so arrests have already been made, and maybe since my last information, maybe even more arrests have been made. So they're addressing the problem, and I think quite adequately.
May I rebut?
Go ahead. 30 seconds to you, sir.
I don't think that we're addressing it adequately. I think it's a recurring problem, and the Indiana State Police have thankfully come to our rescue, but the IMPD ought to have the resources to deal with problems within the city of Indianapolis such as this. The IMPD is stifled by the pursuit limitations, and it keeps them from going after some of the perpetrators as they jump onto I-69 as they leave the Castleton Square parking lot, where the ISP don't have that prohibition. These are structural problems, and these are human staffing problems.
Mr. Hogsett, would you like to respond? 30 seconds.
Well, just simply to say that Jefferson and I are going to have to agree to disagree. I think that the answer that we all want is peace in our streets and people held accountable for violating our laws. And that's precisely what this cooperative arrangement between IMPD and the state police is doing. And it's, I think, the answer in cooperation with neighbors who are willing to assist. And I hope that we can continue to make success in this area.
All right, so I want to turn to mental health. A report released by IU earlier this month estimated that last year, 26,000 adults in Marion County had serious mental illness but did not get treatment. That's 2 out of every 3 people with a serious mental illness, and 55,000 did not get treatment for substance abuse disorder. The report also cited transportation, housing, and minoritized communities as challenges to access care. What do you plan to do over the next 4 years to improve mental health care treatment and access in Indianapolis? Mr. Hogsett, I'll give you the question first.
Well, thank you. I'm proud that in the last several years during the Hogsett administration, we have increased our funding for mental health and mental health access and mental health care by 3 times. We are the administration that has offered for our community the first time the clinician-led response teams. And that started the 1st of July. It now operates in downtown. It will be scaling up to East District in short order. And I think that's something the community asked for, that we have been able to fund and provide. And then finally, our Assessment and Intervention Center at the Community Justice Campus is an incredible asset to mental health. And that's why in next year's budget, we'll be increasing from 30 to 60 beds at the Assessment and Intervention Center. That will be profoundly important as well.
All right, and so Mr. Shreve, I'll ask you that same question. How would you like to respond? 60 seconds here.
We have acutely underinvested in mental health. Our city isn't awash in extra cash, although we've had some unusual influx from COVID dollars lately. But dollars spent on the front end of addressing mental health challenges save our community significantly more on the other end of the equation. We have 1 mobile clinician-led unit. That's not nearly enough. It's estimated that 80% of IMPD runs have a mental health component to each call. And our police officers are not trained as social workers. They too often play that role, but that's not their core competency. I will advocate for and draft a budget as mayor that will invest materially more in mental health, because I think that dollar for dollar, those would be dollars well spent on the front end versus what we spend on the back end.
Thank you both, gentlemen.
Unfortunately, we're almost out of time, gentlemen. I want to get one more question, though. I want to ask you about an issue that doesn't get much attention in much campaigns, many campaigns, I should say, but seems to have become one this year. Animal welfare. We've highlighted plans to improve Indianapolis animal care services. We've done a lot of reporting on that from both of you, including the plans for a new shelter. So what do you want to do, and how big of a priority is it compared to other issues? Mr. Shreve, your turn to start us off here. 60 seconds, sir.
Yeah, I suppose I may have shown the spotlight on this problem, and it wasn't a partisan sort of play. And from a political standpoint, it was certainly a niche sort of subject of interest. But what we do, or moreover don't do, from the standpoint of animal care services in Indianapolis is shameful. My wife and I have a rescue dog and I have been out to ACS in the past as a council member. Went out to check a look at the conditions out there on a public adoption day recently because I knew as a candidate I couldn't just nose around. And what I saw, thinking it would be a public-facing day, was just disastrous in terms of the conditions that the animals were living in. By a report issued back in 2017, that shelter is about 1/3 the size of what it needs to be. The adoptions aren't where they need to be. We don't take animals other than by appointment, which means too many. Strays are left on the streets, are not dropped in or cared for. Too few animal control officers. We have to do a better job than we do.
Mr. Shreve, thank you. Mr. Hogsett, your response, 60 seconds.
Well, as a pet owner, this is very personal to me. And I understand that there has been delays. We have the funding available because of I think the fiscal prudence of this administration. We have the funding available to build a state-of-the-art new shelter. That has been in the works for some time. I'm frustrated that it is not already underway, but the site that was originally identified became problematic, and so we've had to delay the actual construction of that shelter a bit. But I'm proud to say that when I took over as mayor 8 years ago, our live release rate from the animal care and control shelter was about 60%. During the course of the Hogsett administration, those figures have been as high as 85 to 90% live release rates. That's progress, and I'd like it to be 100%. That's the goal.
We do have time for rebuttal if you would like, Mr. Shreve. Go ahead.
Yes, well, we are taking in fewer animals because you have to have an appointment to drop one off or to adopt an animal. This past Saturday, the shelter was closed. That's the busiest day for adoptions. And I got word of that and actually happened by there and did a Facebook post on it, as a matter of fact. My approach will be one, as I have said, I'll donate my salary as mayor to animal care services.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time, Mr. Shreve. I want to get Mr. Hogsett in here as well. Go ahead, sir. 30 seconds.
Well, I'm just, this is a very emotional issue for all of us who love our pets. And that's why we are prioritizing this the funds are there and the funds are available. We need to identify the new location for our shelter, begin to build it and have it in place, and keep raising the live release rates.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. We want to thank you for answering our questions tonight. It's now time for closing statements.
And as per our guidelines, each candidate has up to 90 seconds for a closing statement by virtue of a coin flip earlier today. We begin with Mr. Hogsett. Sir.
Well, thank you to Wish TV for sponsoring tonight's debate. I come before the audience tonight asking for a third and final term because I simply want to finish the job. We inherited 8 years ago a $50 million structural deficit, and we resolved that within a year to a year and a half. Since that time, we have had 7 fully funded, fully balanced budgets, 7 consecutive, all of which passed with bipartisan support, 3 of which were unanimous. We've added 700 police officers. 45% of all IMPD have been hired in the Hogsett administration. We've had a 16% reduction in murders. In 2022, we've enjoyed a 16% reduction so far this year. In 2023, the IBJ reports there's $9 billion in new investment that's on its way to the city of Indianapolis over the next 4 to 5 years. We've passed a $1.2 billion infrastructure proposal with no new tax increases to address the critical infrastructure needs of our city. We've added $200 million to our park system. So those are some of the accomplishments of this administration. I'm proud of them, and I would like an opportunity to finish the job.
Okay, Mr. Shreve, 90 seconds. Close us out, sir.
Thank you. I think the question before your viewers and the voters is simply, are we better off as citizens of Indianapolis today than we were 8 years ago? I don't believe we are. and I think the facts are pretty clear. The mayor has personally taken responsibility and is on record when our homicides were in the 100-ish level per year. And we've had 3 years at the 200 level, and if we annualize where we are today, we'll be over 200 homicides again this year. In 2019, the mayor promised to tackle the homelessness problem. Clearly, that remains a challenge for our city. In 2021, he promised to get the animal shelter built, and there is no remediation progress in work at the other site that he just referenced. In 2017, the mayor opined that 2 terms was sufficient for a mayor to accomplish his objectives, and his presence tonight is indicative that the work that he set out to do remains to be done 8 years into it. That also raises a question that came earlier as to where the mayor's presence was on the nights of the riots of a few years ago when our city was so desperately in need of leadership. So I stand before you, the voters, to offer change, to ask for the support of my neighbors, and to request your vote.
Well, Mr. Shreve and Mr. Hogsett, we want to thank you again for joining us tonight to answer questions in the critical race for the city.
And we also want to thank you at home for watching, and a reminder that early voting is already underway in Marion County, and Election Day is 2 weeks from tomorrow, November 7th. From all of us here at WISH TV, have a great rest of your night.